I'm Patty, back for another Radiance Spotlight. If you're like me, I love to create my own appliques, and using the IQ Designer and the large built-in fonts in the Radiance is a lot of fun to create something like this pillow. So I'm going to show you just real quickly how you can do that, and it's going to highlight some of the new features in IQ Designer. So I'm going to first go into embroidery, and I'm going to go in here to my decorative alphabet patterns or my large lettering. And the first tab is the new lettering that was added with the Radiance. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll up here, choose my letter M and touch set. Now at this point I could go in and I could use my editing tools and I could resize this design. And I'm going to do that because that's what I did on my pillow project. I'm just going to come in here and I have two options. I'm going to resize using the stitch recalculation. So this is going to allow me to go up 200% or down 60% with my letter. So I'm going to make it be a size that I feel like is appropriate. I'll do 7.5 by 8.31. Say OK. Now at this point, what I want to do for this applique is I'm going to just simply go in and create an outline using some of my editing tools here for IQ Designer. So down here it says Outline Extraction. We call this sometimes our shape creation key. When I click on this, what it's going to do is it's going to capture an outline around that letter M. So with this, my distance is defaulted to 0. I do have the option to turn the inside on, and that might work if you had a letter like the letter O or an A that had little insides of lines that you needed to capture. But what I want to do is right now this line is actually going right along the edge of my outline so that I can add one of the new IQ zigzag stitches. I want to make sure that that is actually decreased or deflated from the outline of my letter M. So I'm going to come in here and reduce that. And as I do that, you're going to slowly see that it will actually come in and reduce the size of that so that it's lining up closer with the inside of my zigzag stitch here on my letter. So as I click, again, it's going to make small changes to my distance, but I'm going to go ahead and reduce this closer to like negative 0.14 or negative 0.15. Now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and save this, and this is going to save it over to IQ Designer. And I get a message here on the screen that's going to say, recall from IQ Designer stamp pattern list. And it gives me a visual here of where I need to find that in IQ Designer. So at this point, I'm going to say, okay. And I'm going to leave this design on my embroidery editing screen because we're going to show you in a little bit how you can take some things from IQ Designer and I don't have to be as careful about how I bring designs onto my embroidery editing screen because I can resequence them later. So I'm going to click Add. And then here on my main screen, I can access IQ Designer down here in the bottom right-hand corner. This takes me directly into IQ Designer. Now that artwork that I'm looking for, or that outline, is going to be right here under my Stamp Shapes key, and that's what the icon looked like on my embroidery editing screen. I can click the fourth tab, which is my saved outlines, and there you're going to see I've got two M's, and I'm going to choose the one here, number 1, and say OK. There is my outline. And now what I can do is this comes in with no sewing properties. So if I were to hit next right now, I'm just going to get a little knocking noise at me. There's no sewing properties on it. So I want to come up here to my line properties. And when I go into my line properties, you're going to see that we have a new line type, and it's called Applique Zigzag. And so this is something that is added into the Radiance. So if you're somebody who's been familiar with the Solaris, this is a new line type. And then on the running stitch and the triple stitch, those now have a setting where we can turn the under sewing off so that you won't have double repeats of the line stitching out for a running stitch. So first what I'm going to do is select that running stitch, choose a color, say OK, and then I have to apply that to my outline. So up here I'm going to choose the bucket tool for line and then apply or click on that outline. Once it changes, you can see it changes to the pink color. Now at this point, I can save this to my memory as artwork and then simply touch next. This is where you get the opportunity to change your settings for that stitch. And on the single run stitch, you're going to see now that it has this option for undersewing. It's defaulted to on, but I can come in here and turn that off and say OK. Now, if you wanted to verify that that was going to stitch, on this screen, you have a preview button. So if I click preview, I can see it in my various hoops, but I can also click on the stitch simulator and touch the play button and see that it is going to truly just be a single run stitch. touch close and come back out to my stitch settings. And at this point, I'm going to save this. And if I click on hover on this, it says save the pattern drawing data, the PM9 file, and the embroidery data, the PHX file. So that's letting me know that it's going to save it in 2 formats for me. So I'm going to click that and save it to my machine memory. I could also save it to a USB if I had a USB in. And that's my first placement stitch. That's going to give me an idea of where I need to place my fabric for my applique. Then I can come up to my line type here and choose that applique zigzag, select a different color, say OK, and it'll actually change that line type for me into this new zigzag. Now I can come in here and I can adjust my zigzag width. So I might reduce that just a little bit and say OK. This is going to help me to tack down my fabric and is different than what we had as our traditional satin or zigzag stitch in IQ Designer. The other option you have here is you can adjust the density. So you can see that this is a really sparse and light line type. So again, this is going to be great for helping me to tack down my fabric for my applique. So I'm going to say OK. And again, I can save this to memory just so that I have it. But I can set this design over to embroidery. It's going to give me a little warning here that this is my last chance to save it. And I'm going to be exiting to the embroidery editing screen. Say OK. And I've got my original design. And then I have my tack down stitch. Now my placement stitch, I can simply add, go out to my machine memory, and I can locate my pink outline and set that design. And now I have all of my layers of my applique. Now, mentioned to you that earlier that under edit, I have this key down here that says embroidery order. Now we sometimes call that our resequencing key, which when I click on that, I can take whatever part of the design is selected. So in this case, this is going to be my placement stitch, and I can click to move that to the top. So then I could select another part of the design. And this I want to stitch last, so I can either move it down 1 or I can move it to the bottom. Now I have everything in the sequence that I want things to stitch out. So if I hide my editing keys, I can see that everything's in the order that I want things to stitch. I can even come in here and select everything by using my multiple selection key. And then I could come into under edit and group those all together. So this way, if I want to move them around on the screen, they'll all move together. But then when I'm ready to embroider, I'd simply touch embroidery. And now I have all those different layers of my applique. So as you can see, it's a really fun way to take the designs that are built into your machine, including the large letters, and to quickly turn them into an applique. Now you can get fancy. I even went back into IQ Designer and added even another outline using one of the motif stitches to just enhance my applique. So I hope this was really fun for you to see the ways that you can incorporate IQ Designer and that shape creation key to create your own customized appliques.